Good morning, and welcome to Creative Living Fellowship's online Sunday service. Please join me in our opening song, Use Me.
Use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. I used to think God was the sun, God is the sun, and God's so much more than the earth and the stars and all of creation. God is creator, all in all, and God needs us to shine its light as me, as you, so use me. Oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Command my hands, what must they do? Command my life, it's here for you. God is the love that heals all creation. God is creator, makes all things new, and God needs us to shine its light as me, as you, so use me. Oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do.
Good morning, CLF.
Hi, CLF.
Good morning, CLF, sending so much love.
You have an amazing day, CLF.
Happy Sunday, CLF.
Greetings and salutations, CLF.
Good morning, CLF. May love, light, truth, and trust be with you all.
And good morning again, Youth Ministry, and good morning to all of you, and welcome to our online Sunday service right here at Creative Living Fellowship. I'm the Reverend Dr. Sherry F. McCreary. It is my honor to be the senior minister here and to welcome you here this morning. Creative Living Fellowship is an independent religious science church, and it is our deep intention here to be a community of love, of care, of connection that opens hearts, expands consciousness, and transforms lives. And we do that through the principles and practices of the science of mind. One of our practices here is holding the high watch, and we have two practitioners who are doing that today, and they are Carrie Sherman and Rhonda Emmerich. And what that means is that they're sitting in meditation and prayerful contemplation throughout this time that we're here today, just holding a space for the perfect unfolding of this service today and of whatever is going on in our lives and in the world. So I thank Carrie and I thank Rhonda for their service here today. I always like to give a shout out to our Sunday service team who are here every Sunday holding down the fort for us and making this service possible. Our AV team consists of Nicole Jordan and Deb Covington. And of course, Deb is our song leader. She always starts us off with Use Me, a song that I really love to start our Sunday service off with. Thank you very much, Deb. Thank you, Nicole. Our tech team is Reverend Mary Jane Hyde and Fran Peck, practitioners both. And of course, our music director is David Panessa, and he leads our meditation service and sort of holds down the fort for us here also. Thank you, David, for your service. I always just love having them here and having them serve along with me on Sunday mornings. So now Nicole Jordan will be bringing us our announcements, and those announcements will be followed by a brief gong wash. After the gong wash, there'll be a few moments of silence, and then practitioner Jeannie Sovereigns will bring us our reading and our evocation. I invite you to take the words of the reading into your minds and into your hearts today and just allow them to find a resting place there. And take a breath as you listen to them. But first, hear the announcements, and then there'll be Jeannie. Nicole.
Good morning, Creative Living Fellowship. It is my pleasure to bring you today's announcements. But I would like to just do a shout out to Karen and Tony, who I met yesterday for the first time in person, who actually listened to the announcements. These are for you. So don't meditate alone. Meditate with us on Facebook Live. Join us for midday meditation at noon, Monday through Thursday. We also hold a pre-service meditation at 9:30 in Zoom on Sundays. Stay connected and supported with your CLF family and join Reverend Sherry every Tuesday as she hosts a Community Care Connection Zoom meeting at 6:30 p.m. This week, Reverend Sherry will be leading us in Life's Purpose Visioning. This is a powerful process that reveals more the more you do it. Visioning is a spiritual practice that aligns you to possibilities for your life. Join us for this Tuesday and open up, surrender, and catch God's visions for your life. We look forward to seeing you then. We have dogs and lizards and even bears. Oh my. At least we will on Friday, March 19th from 5 to 6:30 p.m. That's right. Animal Chaplain Fran Peck is hosting another Yappy Hour, the first of 2021. Have you ever noticed during an online meeting or an event that your animal just has to get in on it? Well, now the spotlight is on them. Let's connect and bond over our furry, feathery, and even scaly friends and family. Drop in whenever you can make it. Remember, you can use text to give to make your contributions to CLF. Simply text the amount you'd like to give to 602-610-1868. And that is a text message, not a phone call. If it's your first time donating by text, you'll be sent a link to set up your account. And after that, it's as easy as texting the amount you'd like to tithe to 602-610-1868. And CLF is a tithing church, which means that we tithe off of your donations. And our 2021 first quarter tithes are going to Circle the City, healthcare for the homeless. And speaking of those quarterly tithes, we're looking for more nonprofits to send our next quarterly tithes to. If you have a nonprofit you would like to nominate, please use the link found in the comments to submit your recommendation. Our Sunday prayer room is available to you today after service. Get your after service prayer with a practitioner by heading on over to Zoom using the link provided in the comments. And for those of you in Zoom right now with us, if you'd like a prayer, just stay in this Zoom room. Participants will be transferred into a breakout room for a private lesson with one of our licensed practitioners. And after service, we have Sunday fellowship too. Join practitioner Jeannie Sovereigns in Facebook Messenger chat from 11:15 to 12:15 and hang out, discuss the service, what's on your mind or heart, or just connect with your CLF family. Sharon Davis gives this 5 stars, by the way. Every Sunday, your children are invited to join our youth ministry for a Zoom lesson at noon. Lessons are focused on nurturing their spirituality and science of mind practices. Weekly topics are inspired by Reverend Sherry's themes and include social emotional growth mindset and mindfulness practices. You can find the details for all of our events with their links on our website under events, under our Facebook events, posted in the comments, or in your weekly newsletter. That's it for today's announcements. It is now time to move on to our gong wash, followed by a moment of silence.
Today's reading, Givingness, 365 Science of Mind, A Year of Daily Wisdom from Ernest Holmes, March 11th. There can be no real gift unless the giver goes with it. Giving includes more than giving of money or things. It includes the giving of service or whatever we have to others. But always the gift and the giver must go hand in hand. The surrender of everything we have and everything we are into the joy of its own self-expression. This is the way that God gives. This is the way that we should give. Real giving is an art of transmitting ourselves to others and to the conditions and situations around us. This kind of giving is not something for special occasions only, for it should become a habit growing out of our desire to live life to the fullest extent. Only that which becomes an inward habit of thought can spontaneously flow from the heart and transmit itself to everything we touch. Just as life belongs to the one who lives it, the one who takes it, so the fuller life belongs only to the one who scatters every good he has. It is by giving of oneself to every person, every project, and every association with zest, love, and friendliness that one sees the larger possibility in all things. Beauty instead of ugliness, love instead of hate, the divine hidden within the human. Today and every day, it is my desire that what life has given to me so abundantly shall be shared with others. I desire to share this realization of the indwelling presence with everyone. In this consciousness, I say, bless you, my friend. I desire for you health, happiness, and success. I desire for you love, peace, and joy. I desire for you the benediction of the kingdom of God here upon the earth. In this space of love and light, knowing that Source is all there is. Source is what animates ourselves, our bodies, our minds and spirit as one. This Source is in me as and through me, as it is with everyone within the sound of my voice and beyond. The source of love, of joy, of peace. This is God. This is each cell, each person, each breath, heartbeat, and desire. And I, Jeannie, speak my word, knowing that it goes out with authority, blessing this service, blessing this time, blessing this congregation. That this time together brings God in form. This time together brings the givingness of Source in, through, as each individual who hears the words. I bless Reverend Sherry as she speaks to us today, knowing that God speaks through her, that the music we hear, knowing that this is God's sound, for there is only one. And I am so grateful for this. I am grateful for this time together, for the blessings here and abroad, through this city, this state, this country, this world. Teachers of all faiths and all religions, knowing they are blessed, knowing that no matter what conditions show, there is only one, and that is what is. Grateful for this, I let it go. I let it go to grow, releasing into a law that only says yes, in faith, in trust, and in truth, knowing it is done. And so it is. And now, I welcome our favorite friend, Kirsten Plambeck.
Good morning, Creative Living Fellowship. My name is Kirsten Plambeck, and this morning I'm bringing you a message of hope. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will get brighter. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will get brighter. Someday, yeah, we'll get it together and we'll get it all done. Someday when your head is much lighter. Someday, yeah, we'll walk in the race of a beautiful sun. Someday when the world is much brighter. child, things will get brighter. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Oh, child, things will get brighter. Someday we'll get it together and we'll get it all done. Someday when your head is much lighter. Someday we'll get it together and we'll get it all done. Someday when your head is much lighter. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things are getting brighter. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things are getting brighter. Right now, right now, right now, right now, right now.
Thank you, favorite friend, Kirsten Plambeck. We're really happy to have you back with us this month. Love that song. So let's all take a deep breath together. As we continue this march through March, we're halfway through this month. It's unbelievable. I say that every week, but it really is unbelievable that we continue to move forward as quickly as we seem to be moving. This month of March, we are talking about, the theme all month is being in service. Being in service is the theme. And I was talking last week about don't do service, but be service. Be service. We start out with the being of service, then we move into being in service, and then we move into just being service. And that's what I have been just seeing all around me. It seems that I guess because service is in my consciousness. Everywhere I look, I see service happening, service, and I see more and more people just being service. And so what I'm aware of also is that there are times when we are wanting to be of service, we are wanting to be in service, we are wanting to be service, and then there's something within us that says, why bother? Why bother? And there's so many reasons that we come up with the why bother. Sometimes we're frustrated, sometimes we get discouraged, sometimes we get afraid, sometimes we are fearing criticism. There are times we tell ourselves that, well, it's too late, I haven't done anything before, whatever it may be. It could be service to God, it could be service to our community, it could be service to ourselves. But whatever it is, there's something that can hold us back. There's something that makes us feel like what we have to offer is not enough. What we can do is not enough. We're afraid that somebody may criticize, somebody may look at us differently. So we may be doing things differently. Hopefully we do, because we are each unique individuals and we each have the opportunity to allow our own lights to shine. We don't have to be like somebody else, but we allow those things to hold us back sometimes. We allow those things to make us say, why bother? It won't make a difference anyway. Why bother? My little bit won't change things anyway. Why bother? And so I'm inviting you this day, this time, to really look at the times that you, if you don't say it verbally, if you don't verbalize that why bother, when you are in that consciousness, that why bother consciousness, when you're in the attitude of, oh, why bother? And just not taking the time or taking the care or taking whatever it is that it takes for you to just be all that you can be, that you can be of service in this world. You can be service, as I said, to God, to others, to yourself. And so I'd like us to just really explore a little bit about that why bother, what gets us into that, and how we get out of that today. One thing I'd like you to do is to recognize that why bother is a withholding consciousness. And the first thing I'd like you to do is to be willing to release that withholding consciousness. Because when we're saying why bother, that means that we aren't going to do whatever it is that we're saying why bother about. When we're saying why bother, we're not going to put ourselves into it. And when we're not giving of ourselves, we're not truly giving. When we're not giving of ourselves, there's something missing. When we're not giving of ourselves, then we're not receiving all that we can receive, because as Ernest Holmes was saying, giving and receiving all are part of the same. Everything moves in circles. And so we have to give and be willing to give of our love and our service to others with our entire being, with all of who we are. And when we're not willing to do that, we're being withholding. When we start to compare ourselves to others and feel like what somebody else is giving is more than what we're giving, or we're giving more value to what someone else does than the value of our own abilities, without recognizing that God gave us all unique abilities and unique talents. And rather than moving into that place of comparison, which when we start to compare always makes us come up with the short end of the stick, as my mother used to call it, because we don't generally compare ourselves with equals. We compare ourselves when we feel like for some reason we have to compare ourselves to somebody else. It's always to somebody that we feel is doing more, or sometimes we feel that person is more. And so we start to compare, and that makes us feel less than. Wow, that's a disservice to ourselves. That's a disservice to ourselves. So honor what I call the 11th commandment: thou shalt not compare. Thou shalt not compare. Don't compare yourself to others. Allow yourself to open up and to release that urge, if you will, to withhold yourself, to withhold the allness and the fullness of who you are, to withhold or to hold back the givingness that you can do, that you can be a part of. Let go of that desire to just hold back and to withhold, and just allow yourself to live full out. Allow yourself to just live full out and give all of you that you have. Know your own value and value your value. Recognize your own value, and then stand in that and bother. Stand in that and bother to do it. Don't stand back saying, why bother? Bother. Do it anyway. And you know what? As you continue to do that, you will start to really appreciate who you are. You will start to appreciate the value that you bring. You will start to recognize your own talents, your own abilities, your own uniqueness, and you will start to really honor yourself. And that's when we are giving service to ourselves. When we start to really honor who we are, what we bring, how we contribute to everything. And so I invite you to release that why bother consciousness, release that withholding consciousness, and just allow yourself to be all that you were created to be. And that's how we serve the world. That's how we serve each other. That's how we are in that place of being service, as we are being in service, because we are bringing our full selves. We're bringing all of who we are to everything we do. And that's what I really invite us all to do. The next thing I'd like you to really consider is that recognize that everything is temporary. Everything is temporary. Nothing lasts forever. And this too shall pass. For everything is temporary. And that's something for us to really, really keep in mind. I was so aware of that this week when I recognized that today, March 14th, is Sunday, March 14th, is the 1-year anniversary of our last in-person service in the sanctuary at Creative Living Fellowship. Last year it was March 15th, but it was the same Sunday of the year. It was the second Sunday of the year. And that was our last time there. And, even though we had heard of COVID and we'd heard of the pandemic, we were doing the bowing and the namaste and the acknowledging each other instead of a hug that we do so gloriously at CLF. Instead of doing that, we were nodding to each other and making eye contact. We knew that we'd be going, things were changing. And when the next week we decided we couldn't come back in for service any longer, we thought, okay, this will last for maybe a couple of months. We'll be out, maybe a couple of months, maybe till summer, and then we'll be back, and then all this will be gone, and everything will be back to normal, whatever that means. Take a breath, because that didn't happen. You know, that really did not happen. That here we are 1 year later. Who would have thought that we would have been out for a full year? Who would have thought we would not have been able to see each other for a whole year, have our services at CLF for a whole year? Who would have thought so many changes would have happened, the changes that we are experiencing right now, not only in our individual lives, but in our life as a community. And so what I really want us to recognize is that day that we were going around nodding to each other and bowing to each other and acknowledging each other, I hope that we cherished those moments, that we looked in each other's eyes. I hope that we really were fully present as we were doing that. And I hope that if we weren't there, it's still not too late for us to start right now, to recognize everything is temporary, and so to live fully and to be fully present in everything we do, with every person, with every situation, not taking any situation for granted or any person for granted, but really, really bringing our full selves, our full beingness into whatever it is we're doing. You know, yesterday we had the Free Cycle event at CLF. It was such a wonderful time. It was such a glorious time to see people we hadn't seen in a long time. We couldn't hug each other. We were socially distancing and we were wearing masks. And sometimes we had to sort of look at each other twice to try to figure out who is that. As well as we know people, there's something about having that mask on, you're not real sure who it is you're looking at. But we still, there was that love, there was that connection. It was such a wonderful time. And I invited, in our opening prayer when we got there, the team of people who were working with this event yesterday, I invited us all to savor the moment, to be in that time, because the time would pass so quickly, and there would never be that same configuration of people together again. But to be there and to be fully present there. And it was such a wonderful time to see, as I said, see people we hadn't seen in a year, to talk to people, to be around, for me, just to be around people, because I spend a lot of time at home alone, and just to be around people and just exchange the energy exchange, to walk around the building, to walk around the place with our hearts full in that bittersweet time that we spent there. Recognizing that everything had changed. Everything had changed. And I think all of us who were there yesterday got a chance to really understand what it means that everything is temporary. Everything passes. And so it seemed that CLF, that building was going to be there forever. And now we know it isn't. And now we know it isn't. Now we know that we are releasing the building. We're releasing the building, we're releasing the property. And I'm trusting that the people who came through yesterday were able to really, really savor those moments, really, really be present, really, really be of service to each other, to the community, and to themselves throughout that time, because everything changes so quickly. This year that we have gone through, even though it doesn't seem like a year has passed already, this year that we have gone through shows us that life changes on a dime. That life changes on a dime, like that. It's changed. And so it's important for us to be present, to be grounded, to be anchored, and to recognize that although all these things that change around us, that the changeless is that presence of God. The changeless, the anchor in our lives is God. The anchor everywhere is God. And so all these conditions change, people change, situations change, circumstances change, events change, all that changes. God is the changeless. And so we have to start with the changeless, and recognize that is permanent, that is eternal. God is eternal. And so recognizing that we come together more and live our lives more in God. And so that when things around us and the temporariness of things around us begin to reveal themselves, things start to really change so quickly, so quickly, so quickly. When all that happens, we are anchored in the thing that's changed less, the thing that's changed less. And that's what I have to remind us all to do. That we have spent a lot of time going back to the free cycle event. We spent a lot of time over the last few weeks preparing for that free cycle. But you know what? Those of us who have been there working at the center have had the opportunity to spend that time with each other, to have that opportunity to be around as we release items that were there, that personal property that was there that belonged to CLF, releasing it out into the community or wherever. But just the idea of being able to spend time together, to share this time together, to be of service to the community, to be of service to each other, to be of service to ourselves. That was such a precious time. And that time passed. That time passed. Yesterday, when Free Cycle was over, that time passed. The temporariness of that was shown to us because it passed. But what we wanted to do was to make sure our hearts were open, our minds were open, our entire being was open to experience fully that experience of being together, of connecting. And so that's what I'm inviting you to do in every aspect of your life. Every aspect of your life. Recognize the temporariness of life. Recognize that everything, and this too shall pass. And this too shall pass, whatever it is. And so when we feel like, oh, well, I won't do it today, maybe I'll just wait until tomorrow. Oh, I won't go this time, maybe I'll just go next time. That's a why bother. That's a why bother. Don't do it. Don't do it. I invite you, bother, make sure you bother and do these things so you get to experience the allness and the fullness of life and get to be all that you were created to be, because that's how we get to experience and to be all that we were created to be, by being open and receptive and willing to be giving of ourselves, even when we feel like, oh, why bother? When we open our hearts and we open our minds and we open our entire being, then we get a chance to experience life in a way that we haven't experienced before. And we get a chance to give to others in a way that we've not given before. And we get a chance to receive from others in ways that we haven't received before. This is what the full circle is all about, the giving and the receiving and the givingness of life. And so that's what I'm inviting you to do. That's what I'm inviting you to do. And so the third thing that I'm inviting you to do is to step into the consciousness of new beginnings. Step into the consciousness of new beginnings. Step into the consciousness of new beginnings. You know, we are closing a building. We are releasing a building. We are not releasing Creative Living Fellowship. We're not releasing our community. We're not letting go of our community. We're not selling our community. We're just selling a building. And the building has meant a lot. I'm not minimizing that. And I say this over and over again. The building has meant a lot to a lot of people in so many ways. And so honor that, cherish that. We're going to have a ceremony, a closing ceremony, and then within the next couple of weeks, but just before we move out completely, to honor the time that we've spent there, to honor the building, to honor the property and the blessing that it has been to all of us. And we recognize that it's a building, and the building is not who we are. The community is who we are. And Creative Living Fellowship is a church. A church is not a building. A church is a community. And so the property there, the building, has housed the church known as Creative Living Fellowship. So I want all of you to remember that we're not closing up shop. We're just closing up the building. And we are embarking on a new incarnation right now, and we're not sure what that is. The wonderful thing about yesterday, I got a chance to meet a lot of people. In addition to seeing people I hadn't seen in a long time, I got a chance to meet some new people who were really excited about CLF. They've been watching us online. And there were some people I also met who want to become members of CLF. That is so exciting. What about new beginnings? This is what we're talking about, new beginnings. and new beginnings, irrespective of where we are when it comes to a physical space. And so I invite you to really step into the consciousness of new beginnings with enthusiasm, with excitement, with expectancy. You know, expectancy. Joy is, as Ernest Holmes says, joy is the emotion excited by the expectancy of good. Joy is the emotion excited by the expectancy of good. And so when we move into that energy of expectancy, we're expecting good. We're expecting good for CLF. It can only be good because CLF is a divine idea in the mind of God. And so just when we dare to believe that Creative Living Fellowship is a divine idea in the mind of God, then our minds are open. Our consciousness is available for expansion. You know, I've shared with you before that when I first came there and started the Vision Corps a couple of years ago, the first things that started to come up as in response to what is God's vision for CLF was expansion. That word kept coming up for everybody. Expansion, growth, expansion, growth. More people started to come. We started to expand in different ways. We became attached to expansion, meaning being right there in that in the facility where we were. And it did, because we did expand, we did grow. But you know what? I came to realize that we were a bit attached to what expansion looks like. We were a bit attached to our definition of expansion, because we are expanding right now. We're expanding right now. We're expanding our reach because now we're online even more than we were. We always were live streaming our services, but now we are online only. So we expand our reach. We expand and in the meantime, we're expanding our consciousness. That's one of the big things that I've been so aware of. And my intention in coming to CLF was to see a deepening in consciousness. And so our deepest intent has to be expanding consciousness. Expanding consciousness. And so as we expand our consciousness, as we open our consciousness, we see all kinds of possibilities for CLF. And that's why I say fasten your seatbelts. Fasten your seatbelts. Keep those seatbelts fast and keep doing that spiritual practice and those practices. That's how we expand consciousness. That's how we expand consciousness. That's how we transform our lives. Continue to walk in love. Continue to be in that place of givingness, that place of love, that place of openness, that place of availability to the all that is. Continue to hold the desire to be all that you were created to be. Continue to do all those things. Continue to do all those things. Be willing to step into that expanded consciousness. Be willing to step into new beginnings, the consciousness of new beginnings. And you know, when there are new beginnings, there's so much excitement. Of course, there are things we don't know. We don't know where we're going to be holding service, but we know we are going to be. As soon as the public health issues are resolved to the point where we can have services again, we will move our furniture out of storage and we will start to have services in person again. But right now, we have to be where we are. And right now we're online, and we invite you to be with us right where we are. To be with us right where we are. Let go of that why bother. No, it's not the way it used to be. And it's the way it is now. It's the way it is now. And so let's live fully in this now moment. Let's live fully in this now moment and be in this consciousness of new beginning, because we have embarked on new beginnings, and we are in the midst of new beginnings. So bother to be in the midst of these new beginnings with us and walk this walk with us as we continue to be service for the divine, because that's what our lives are all about, being service for the divine. And that's what I'm inviting you to do. I'm inviting you today to bother with a joyful heart, a joy-filled heart, a sense of expectancy so that you can experience that joy that Ernest Holmes talks about. So I'm inviting you now, let's just turn within in this moment as we just take a deep breath and just allow ourselves to be service. Allow ourselves to be service. Allow ourselves to just be. And so just breathing into this place right here, right now, of knowing and sensing and feeling the allness and the fullness of God. The allness and the fullness of God that is right here, right now, right where we are. The allness of the full and the fullness of God that is all that there is. The only power, the only presence, the only mind, the only life, the only activity, the only breath is God. God is all there is. And this onlyness, this all that is my life. This all that is the life of each of us here. It is a source of all. And by whatever name we call it, it doesn't matter. It's the source of us all. And so just knowing that this allness and this fullness, this source is that from which I can never be separate. I just pause momentarily right now to speak the word for each of us this day. Just speaking a word of wholeness, speaking a word of certitude, that certitude of knowing that right where each of us is, God is, that God is guiding and directing our every step, each and every moment of each and every day, that God is right where we are in each and every moment of each and every day, that God is that presence from which we can never be separate, ever, on any circumstances. And so to the degree that anyone is believing or buying into a sense of separation from God, I know that that is dispelled right here and right now by the word that's being spoken, and the word of oneness and wholeness is being spoken for each of us right here and right now. I know that there's a releasing of doubt, of fear, of anxiety. There's a releasing of discounting. There's a releasing of pain and sorrow and regret. And all that stuff that would block us from that experience and the allness and the fullness of God. All that's released and dissolved right here, right now. Pain in the body, illness, all that's released right here, right now by the word that's being spoken. And I'm knowing that there's a space created for love and for peace and for harmony and for balance and for joy and for healing in the body temple, knowing that every organ, cell, tissue function of the body, of anyone experiencing this ease, is experiencing the radiant healing presence of God right now. Anyone who's experienced loss of loved ones, loss that creates grief. I know that the great comforter that is God is right in the midst of everything that's going on. That great comforter that is God, that peace that passes human understanding is within each person. I'm calling it forth now, peace and peace of mind. I know that where there is a perception or an experience of lack, that in the midst of that is abundance and prosperity, for God is abundance itself. God is abundance itself. And so I know that all needs are met by the thing itself showing up, God showing up as whatever our need may be at any time, in any way, by whatever name we give it. I know that God is in the midst of everything that's going on. No matter what we name it, God is in the midst of it. And that wholeness is revealing itself everywhere there appears to be anything that is unlike wholeness. It is revealing itself because God is. And so I just pause momentarily now so that we may speak the names of anyone we'd like held in prayer this day. We speak their names silently or aloud, but you may speak them now. And so for all those whose names were spoken here this day, I know that God is. I know that God is right where each of them is, blessing and keeping them. I know that God is showing up in ways that they could not even imagine, that healing is happening in ways that cannot even be imagined. Because God is. That allness and fullness of God is. This word goes out to our government officials. This word goes out to anyone needing a prayer this day. This word goes out knowing that where there's unrest, peace is, for God is in the midst. Where there's discord, peace is, for God is in the midst. Love is, for God is in the midst. Healing is, of all kinds, healing. In any area, healing, for God is in the midst. And so I simply say thank you, Father, Mother God, for the word spoken here this day. Thank you for the perfect manifestation of this word that is unfolding right here and right now. Thank you, God, for everything. For everything. For everything. I simply allow it to be. And so it is. Thank you, David. Let's take a breath together as we move into our offering time now. This is a time that we give of our tithes and offerings. As Nicole said to you earlier, CLF is a tithing church, and we invite you to participate in this part of our service with us today by tithing right here at CLF. You can do that, make your donations by clicking on the donate button on the website and also in the comment section. You can also text to give, but however you choose to do it, we certainly appreciate your continued support of Creative Living Fellowship. So now let's move into our offering blessing together. We take a breath. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I circulate. Thank you, God. And so it is. And now here's Kirsten again.
Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. It won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride if I have things that you can borrow for. No one can feel those other needs that you want show. You just count on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. And I just might have a problem that you'd understand. We don't need somebody to lean on. Oh, if there is a load you have to bear that you can't carry, oh, I'm here right up the road. I share you, Lord, if you just call me. You just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on. You just call me if you need a friend. Call me, or I'm telling you, call me, brother, call me.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much, Kirsten. That was wonderful. We look forward to having you back again soon. Yes, I see applause happening in the Zoom room. So let's all take a breath together. I just have a couple of closing announcements. Don't forget that fellowship happens today after Sunday service with practitioner Jeannie Sovereigns. That's a time that you can connect the way you used to connect in Holmes Hall. I say this all the time. You can have coffee or tea or lunch, and you don't have to leave the privacy of your own home. And you can connect with each other and really, really maintain that connection, that community connection that we have, taking advantage of the here and now by joining Jeannie immediately after service today. Also, the youth ministry meets at 12 o'clock today. Drop your kids off at the youth ministry. We'd love to have them there. We'd love to see them there. A lot of people came out to the free cycle yesterday and picked up some things from the youth ministry, some kiddie things so that they could take a piece of CLF home with them. And that was great to see those people there also. But drop your kids off at the youth ministry because it's really growing and thriving. So we'd like it to continue to do so. We have the Zoom prayer room that's open. You know that you can pray with practitioners immediately after service in the Zoom prayer room. So if you are already in the Zoom room, stay put if you want prayer with the practitioner. If you're not in the Zoom room, click on the link and come on into the Zoom room so that a practitioner can pray privately with you, just like they used to do in the sanctuary. So this is our new beginning of praying in the prayer rooms on Zoom for now. You can also reach out to practitioners with on-call practitioners by getting their contact information from the website or in the comments. And of course, you can always send an email. Practitioners pray over your prayer requests for 30 days. And you can send a prayer request to prayer@creativelivingfellowship.com. Don't walk around with a heavy heart. Make sure that you are availing yourself of the services that the practitioners are offering to you. That was a mouthful. Let's just breathe now and move on into me reminding you of the community connection meeting that we have on Tuesday evenings from 6:30 to 7:45. This week we will be doing life's purpose visioning. And because this is new beginnings, wow, wonder what God's vision is for my life. Come on out so you can check it out on the connection meeting Tuesday evening. We also am reminding you to read the treatment for supply, to say the treatment for supply, to pray the treatment for supply with meaning, with feeling, with gusto. It works when you work it. So continue to use that. That is our community prayer. It will continue to be our community prayer. And I invite you to avail yourself of that also. Importantly, please connect with each other. Please communicate. I saw so many people who were so glad to see each other yesterday and wanting to hug, and we were doing those air hugs, you know, and it's just wonderful to continue to do that and let people know, I think of you, I miss you, I love you. Can't wait to see you. Can't wait to see where we go next and what's happening. But for now, connect. And you can also connect with people by doing Zoom chats if you want to be that forward thinking. So connect however you do. Meanwhile, know that I love you. I miss you. I can't wait to see you again. I'm so happy I saw those of you I saw yesterday, and I can't wait to see the rest of you whenever we see each other. Take good care. God bless. And now here's our closing song. I release.
I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life and my